and welcome to another episode of The Jackie Jackson Show. Hi, my name is Jackie Jackson. Most of you know me already. If you've been watching the series, you've seen me many times so far on my TATV. And I really appreciate everyone who has taken the time to watch my show and to get to know me. All right. So I've done quite a lot of interviews with a variety of different people, some successful entrepreneurs and others are philanthropists, and they are just killing the game and making big things happen in the world by following their passion. And it's really enlightening to speak with all of the special guests that I have on my show, because everyone has a story and everyone has a journey, and it's an honor just to be a part of their journey. So what I decided to do for our show today is talk about my journey. All right. Talk about my journey. How did I get from my beginning, my genesis, to where I have evolved to right now? And I really want to discuss the mistake that people normally make, which is like their understanding when it comes on to finding their purpose and actually making money. And it's very interesting because people kind of get that concept a little bit like misunderstood and backwards, to be honest with you. So I'm going to share my journey, and hopefully within my story, you can extract some lessons learned from there and apply it to your journey. And maybe it can shorten the time of you arriving at your destination successfully. So again, you're watching the Jackie Jackson Show, and our topic of the day is discussing and describing how your purpose doesn't necessarily correlate with making money. And the way how I'm going to talk about that is through sharing with you my journey and how I got started. All right. So when I was in college, when I was in college back in the day, and this is my first college degree, when I was getting my bachelor's, right? So I have a bachelor's in psychology, and I actually chose that discipline by default. Yeah, I actually had no desire, to be a psychologist in any way, but it was the shortest curriculum for me to get out of college, right? So I was like, when I looked at all the different majors and the requirements, I said, which one of these can I accomplish in the shortest amount of time? And I laugh about it now because what I learned as, a psychologist, or, studying psychology, because I'm technically not a psychologist because I'm, not certified there. But I learned a lot about how I think and how people think, and, why we make a lot of decisions that we do, and the influences from our circles that cause us to make those decisions. So humans, we make a lot of decisions based on what we're taught, right? So we, have our personal experiences. The first thing that we, begin to learn is from our family. And then from our family, the next circle over is our friends. And then from our friends, it may be our coworkers, as we grow as adults and, get a job, and we have influence there. And then we also have influence from our society, and we also have influence from our government. So in all of these different phases of our lives, we are told and defined about who we actually are, right? We get a clear understanding, or at least that we think we do, get a clear idea of who we actually are, or who we think we are, okay? And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because, like I said, back in college, I remember being approached by one of my really, really good friends, still friends with him to this day. We went to the same college. And I remember he asked me, what did I want to be in life, right? So it's not a very uncommon question. I mean, today we even ask our children, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? That's usually like one of the things that growing ups usually ask children. And, children say, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be a singer, I want to be a dancer, I want to be a fireman, I want to be, anything. I want to walk on the moon, I want to, jump rope, 1,000 times, or they express themselves in many different ways. And as adults, sometimes we are in agreement with them, and sometimes we're not. We're like, oh well, that's a good idea, but maybe you might want to look at something else or do something different. All right. So that's one of the first places that we get a sense of like our identity. All right. So I actually didn't answer his question in that way. I didn't define myself by any particular occupation or professional outlet, right? That's just not how I answered him. How I actually answered was like an antithesis to like the hypothesis, right? The theory. I didn't have any idea of what I really wanted to be. So instead of like identifying something specific and like limiting myself to that one thing, I answered him and I said, the one thing that I want to be or don't want to be, actually, is what I said. I know that I don't want to be a drug addict. Like, that's the only thing that came to mind at the time. He says, well, what do you want to be, when you grow up? And I said, well, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I know what I don't want to be is an addict. And you're like, what in the world? Like, why would she even say that? Like, I didn't have any problems with drugs or anything like that, at that particular point in my life, nor do I have those challenges now. But the reason why I answered that way is because of the influence in my environment, right? So when I was growing up as an adolescent, one of the biggest challenges that like my peer group had to overcome was exposure to external influences of like, drugs in your neighborhood, right? You're constantly, even when you're going to school, you're constantly walking by, dope dealers on the street. You saw them, the corner boys, and, that's just what it was. And then you would see them, have this very lavish lifestyle of, because that was their business. So they expressed their selves and their success through, buying a lot of material things. So you saw them, they look successful, but we all know that the outcome for that type of occupation doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to end in success, right? A lot of times it ends in destruction. But more importantly, what I really saw and noticed was the people that got caught up in drug addiction and how they actually, were so influenced by it that every decision that they made from that point on as a drug addict really affected like every other aspect in their life and all of their relationships and everybody else that was around them. Like, that drug ended up controlling them for the period of time that they were actually on that substance and abusing it. So I knew that that's what I didn't want for myself or for my life. So that's pretty much how I based my decisions. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I was open to possibilities. And I just knew that I did not want to put myself at risk by being influenced by outside I guess, pressures of using substances that would control my mind and control my body. So that's how I pretty much answered. And the other day when he and I were speaking, my friend and I, he actually reminded me of how I answered him. And he said that he never forgot it because it was something that he just never really thought about. Nobody really says, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, well, I just don't want to be a crackhead. I don't have anything else that I don't want to be or, anything else that I want to be. I just know that I just don't want to be that. So the moral of the story here is a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to find their purpose and their passion. And they go about it actually kind of like backwards, right? So they define who they are first, and then they try to go and find their passion and their purpose. And it actually is the opposite. And I'm going to tell you why. When you define who you are, you automatically identify and define who you are not. And what that means to you is you automatically dismiss the possibility of actually changing and evolving for yourself. Like you cut off all of those additional opportunities that is out there for you because you've already steadfast told yourself that, hey, I want to do this one thing. And if this one thing doesn't align with everything else, then I'm going to cut everything else off. And that doesn't mean that that one thing that you've defined yourself as is going to be that vehicle that really takes you to where you really need to go in order for you to have success in your life. All right. So I challenge you, instead of defining yourself and having like a hard line, to actually say, you know what, I don't know. And that's cool to not know, because when you don't know, that means it opens up the possibilities for anything. And finding your purpose and your passion and correlating that to actually making profit in your life are not always going to align with themselves. There are many people that actually walk in their passion and serve their community or whatever it is that they want to do, and they don't make any money from it. And that's okay, because that's their purpose and their passion. No one ever said that if you found your purpose and your passion that you would be profitable for it. Now, if you want to be profitable, then there's only one way to actually do that. And the only way for you to be profitable and be prosperous in your life is to actually solve other people's problems. All right. So if you are not finding solutions to help someone else solve a problem, then you're always going to be struggling for money. And what do I mean by this? Well, I'm going to give you a perfect example. All right. So the other day I was cleaning out my garage. I know, cleaning out my garage, and a snake came into my garage while my garage door was up. So after I finished panicking about the snake, excuse me, I said, okay, I am not going to fight this. The snake is already in here. And the snake was like maybe about 4 feet long, and it was like black and skinny. And I was like, oh, this is awful. Like, that's just not my thing. I wasn't necessarily scared of it. I just knew that I didn't want it in my house. All right. So there was a strong desire to get this snake out of my area, out of my territory, just out of my personal space, because they invaded my space, right? They invaded my home. Anyway, so I closed the garage door down and I went directly into my home at that time and locked all, access areas now, because I kind of like compartmentalize the snake. You can only have this area. So you're in the garage, well, you can have the garage. And I told my children, I was like, don't go in the garage. There's a snake in the garage. So I come inside and I begin to just Google, right? I had no idea who to call or what to do about this problem that I had. So I just Googled and I was like, well, it's wildlife. I don't want to destroy it. I live in an area where, there's wildlife all the time. There's like a lake across the street from my home, and there's this beautiful like crane birds, and, there's just a lot of nature that is around me, right? So they were here first, so you got to respect that. And I live in an area that I have to share. I have to share my existence with nature. So I began to just search for a solution to my problem by actually doing a Google search for like wildlife rescue or wildlife, pickup or something like that. And I came across the county's website, that I live in, and I actually called the phone number. There was a phone number there because they had like a little page where, hey, if you're experiencing having wildlife in your home or something like that, give us a call. And I was like, genius. This is exactly what I need. So I called, and the gentleman answered the phone, and very pleasant. And I explained to him that I had a snake in my home. So he said, okay, no problem. I can come by and I can come by tomorrow. And I'm like, tomorrow? What do you mean tomorrow? Like, I need the snake out today, not tomorrow. He said I could come by tomorrow. I said, all right. That's the earliest appointment that he had because he was booked all the way up until that time, right? So he was in high demand because he was out there solving people's problems, right? I'm not the only one that had wildlife come into their home. So I said, okay, I'll take your earliest appointment. How much? The gentleman said that he has a $200, right? So it's going to be $200 just for him to come and look for the snake. I said, okay. And then he also said, if I don't find a snake, then it will be an additional $200 for him to come back. What he'll do is he'll set traps, and then when he returns, he's going to check the traps, and hopefully the snake would have been attracted to the actual traps, and then he'll be able to take the snake out of the home, and it will be like the most humane way to discard and get rid of the problem of having a snake in my garage. So I said, okay, not a problem. I need that service, so it doesn't matter how much it costs. I need to pay it because I need the snake out of my home. And then after I made my agreement with the guy, I sat back and I kind of thought to myself, I was like, I am totally in the wrong business. I'm totally in the wrong business, but not that I want to become like a snake wrangler or anything like that, or go out and like catch wildlife. That's totally not my thing. But the thought process that I had behind it is he is solving a problem. He is totally solving a huge problem that a lot of people have. And I said to myself, I wonder if when he was young, if he ever thought about what his occupation or what his method of actually bringing profit into his life would be. Was it, capturing wildlife the way how he is right now? Or was it the fact, was it that he wanted to be a drummer or a singer, or maybe even, I don't know, maybe he wanted to be a dancer. I don't know. But the interesting thing that I said is that, if he's making money, right? He's making money, he can fund his purpose and his passion, whatever it may be, as he pleases. And that was like an epiphany for me. And I was like, you know what? Many people need to know that this is possible. Like, this is how you actually go about making your purpose and your passion come to life. It's not about finding it first, okay? A lot of people go and they try to do that. They go and they get a job, which is cool, and they start to earn money that way by exchanging their time for an income. And then simultaneously, they're trying to find their purpose or trying to work their purpose at the same time. Well, that's all great, but that's just one way, all right? And sometimes that's actually like the long way, because if your time is dedicated to your job, then you don't necessarily have as much time as you would desire to focus on your purpose and your passion and actually doing the things that you actually love to do. So I propose a new paradigm shift. And the new paradigm shift would be focus on increasing your profits by making yourself valuable to others, by helping someone solve an actual problem that they are in just desperate need of. At that moment in time, when I realized that, man, this snake is in my house and I can't do anything about it, I'm not going out there because I'm not a snake wrangler, and I'm not going out there to go wrestle with anybody's wildlife, right? I needed someone who is an expert in wildlife. And I knew that I would pay any amount. I didn't even care what he said the amount was going to be. I just knew that I wanted that wildlife out of my home. So I would sacrifice and I would pay anything that this gentleman had asked me for. And even if I didn't have the funds at the time, trust me, I would find it. I would borrow it. I would do anything possible just to pay. And that's the type of business and that you need to be in. You need to be in a business where your value is so high that people will pay you whatever it is that you need to be paid, whatever it is that your asking price is, because you're so valuable to them because you're solving their problem. And then you take the profits that you earned from that business and you invest it in yourself and actually be able to manifest your purpose and your passion and whatever it is that you want in life or dreamed of in life, and go forth and implement that for yourself and live happily the way how you want to be happy. All right. So if you are just tuning in, you are watching the Jackie Jackson from the Jackie Jackson Show. And I am really excited and grateful that you have taken the time to tune in and watch me, because I'm really sharing some really, really good insights on the thinking, right? The thinking process between identifying your purpose and your passion and correlating your purpose and passion to actual profits, like making money. So when I was younger, back in college, I knew that I just wanted to make money, because if I made money, then I pretty much could have a lot of options into what I wanted to do in life. So that's how I ended up in sales. All right. So I ended up in sales, and then I transitioned from sales to banking and managing money. So I was always attracted to this topic of money and trying to understand it. And then from banking and finance, I transitioned to real estate. And that's when things really started to change for me. All right. So right now you're watching me and you're watching my show. If you're watching me on television right now, or if you're watching me, having to like watch me on social media or something, all of this opportunity that you are seeing right now by watching me actually came from real estate. All right. So the day that I became a real estate investor, that totally changed my life. Real estate provided me with the opportunities that I was looking for to follow my passion. And my passion is actually communicating, right? I love speaking, I love educating, I love inspiring, I love encouraging and telling people and being their cheerleader. Most importantly, that's pretty much what I love to do. And real estate was the catalyst that helped me to do that. So once I learned real estate investing and all the different techniques that are out there to apply and implement into my life, I then took the funds that I earned from real estate investing and applied it to my purpose and passion, which is communicating and speaking and public speaking, and actually subsequently the show that you're watching right here. So I know that it works. I know that it works because I did it, right? And I was very successful at it. And I learned techniques in real estate that did not require a lot of money, or didn't, and in most times it was like no cash and no money down. I know you see a lot of those different commercials and people advertising that all the time. So like no cash and no credit, and you can, flip houses and you can do all these different things. And it's absolutely true. And it's information that a lot of people are just not privileged to know, or they are unaware that it's possible. And I'm here to tell you that it is possible. And anyone that is interested in learning real estate investing and being able to really change their lives for the better and be able to really earn the income that they are looking to earn, and be able to really make that transition in their lives so that they can really apply the resources needed to follow their purpose and passion, then real estate is one vehicle that you can use to get there. It's not the only vehicle, but it's one vehicle that you can use to get there. That's just happened to be what I use to get where I wanted to go. And I am willing to share that information with whoever is interested in learning how to do that. But the point is, you must first find your route, right? The way how you're going to get from point A to point B. You want to experience life in its abundance, in its fullness, by walking in your purpose and just really having, that really positive life where you feel so fulfilled, like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted to do with my life, right? You don't feel like you've had any wasted time at all, because you got a chance to do everything that you wanted to do. And not many people can say that because they don't have the resources to do everything that they want to do. So I challenge you, if you are a aspiring entrepreneur or a business professional, or even if you have a full-time job, or you are a experienced business person and you have a viable business that you've built from the ground up to the sky, you still have to find value, because if you don't find value and you're not solving someone's problem, then you're not going to actually reach your full potential, your full earning potential, which is required in order for you to fulfill and live your best life and be able to really walk in your purpose and your passion. So this is again the Jackie Jackson from the Jackie Jackson Show, and I thank you a lot for taking the time to watch me. You can follow me on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, LinkedIn. You can also catch this episode again on Facebook, on my The Jackie Jackson Facebook, as well as you can catch me on YouTube. And you can also reach out to me at any time by sending me a private message, or just reaching out and giving me a call. I am open to the possibilities of making new friends and changing lives, and helping as many people as I can while I'm here on this planet, right? So that is what I was put here to do, is to share information and to make it possible for people to actually realize and create their dream while they're here, okay? So the only way that you're able to do that is to make money. And to make money, you need an outlet or a plan of action of how you're going to execute that and what you're actually going to do. So if you have no idea what you're going to do, but you do have an idea what you're going to do, and you tried it and it doesn't work, maybe you might want to reassess how you are creating value for the customers, the solutions that you are trying to achieve and accomplish. All right. So that's my biggest tip that I could actually provide anybody. I'm asked this question all the time: Jackie, how do I make more money? And then I currently ask them, I'm like, well, what are you doing right now? Well, I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, well, that's the problem. You're not solving anybody's problem. You're not doing anything, right? The most successful people in the planet, right, or on the planet, make sure my grammar is correct. The most successful people on the planet, what they have done is they found a way to solve a problem. Don't let anybody tell you that, you need to have all this fancy and lavish business. Like you need to have Facebook and social media, you need to have this fancy website, and you need to actually, write a book, and you got to be on Oprah, and you got to do all these things, you got to speak on stages and, do all of these things. Now, those things are pretty cool. They make you popular and sometimes even make you famous. People get to know you, you become a household name, but it doesn't put any money in your pocket if you're not actually solving a problem. So again, this is the Jackie Jackson from the Jackie Jackson Show, and I look forward to helping you all become enriched, provide solutions, and find value in yourself, and be able to create solutions to help someone else solve their problem. Thank you again for watching the show, The Jackie Jackson. Don't forget to leave your comments and share this information with someone else. I look forward to reading all of your comments. I always do. So be blessed. Until next time, thank you for watching.